Hello friends and family, boys and girls, and welcome back to my channel. I know you guys saw the title of that video. Today we are going to be talking about what your first step should be after you determine you don't want to work in the clinical space anymore. Meaning you don't want to be a PA anymore, you don't want to be a doctor anymore, you don't want to be a nurse anymore, whatever your thing is. For me, it was PA. But whatever your thing is, this video can apply. It can be really difficult to navigate those feelings, especially depending on how long you've had this like dream to be the doctor, to be the PA, to be the whatever it was. If you've been like working on this or working towards this or thinking this is what you want to do for a long amount of time, it can be really difficult to push that to the side, leave it there, and then focus on another path. When you let go of something that you previously referred to as your dream, it can almost feel like you're giving up. It can feel like a disappointment. It can feel like a disappointment to your family. You may even try to turn it back around on yourself, like, oh, maybe I'm just lazy. You can say all of these things because it really is very hard to give up on a dream, regardless of what the dream is. But what I'm emphasizing in this video is that you have the right to change the narrative of your story at any given moment without explanation to anybody, without explanation to family, without explanation to your friends. You have the right to change the trajectory of your life without having to overcompensate or over-explain or feel bad about it because you aren't doing what people previously thought you would do. And this is something that I struggled with a lot because whenever I first was getting thoughts of, oh, I don't think I want to be a PA anymore, for a long time I still kept pushing. I still kept kind of like pushing to be a PA, even though I had in the back of my mind, this might not be what I want to do. A lot of feelings came with that. Like, in a sense, I felt like I was letting myself down because it felt like I was giving up on this dream. But what we need to realize is if you come to the conclusion that that's not where your heart is, that's not what you want to do anymore, that was never your dream to begin with. That was just something that you convinced yourself that you should be doing. You tried to force yourself into this box. So now the box has exploded and you're like, okay, well, you know, what do I do? So all of these things that I'm giving you guys today are going to be things coming from my own personal journey because I didn't have anybody to tell me this whenever I decided to switch from PA and go to the administrative side of healthcare. I didn't have anybody to give me this talk. So all this stuff is going to be coming from my own personal experience. Let's go ahead and come in at number one. Number one, give yourself time to get comfortable with the decision that you have made. Like I told you guys in the beginning of this video, after I first had the thought that I didn't want to be a PA, it still took me a series of months, maybe even a year, to get comfortable with my decision. I gave myself every excuse to keep going, even though I knew where my heart was already. So what you need to do is before you tell anybody what your plan is, before you go and ask for advice from friends and ask for advice from family, you need to come to your own conclusion. Because talking to family and talking to friends can, not to say that they don't have your best interest at heart, but sometimes they can speak from a place of just wanting you to do a certain thing so bad because they think it'll be nice, they'll be proud of you and all these things, that they won't be actually thinking about who you are as a person, what you like to do, what your passions are, and what you need. So before you talk to anybody about it, step one is get comfortable with your own decision. This could take 2 weeks. This could take a year. I don't recommend letting it go past a year just because, you know, whenever we decide we don't want to do something, we want to kind of like switch it up. Okay, what am I going to do next? But the point is, give yourself that time to get comfortable with your decision and really think, okay, why do I feel this way? Why is this happening? You know, what are the exact A, B, C, D? What are the exact reasons why I don't feel like this is for me anymore? Once you get that out of the way, and once you get comfortable with your answer on why you are not pursuing this thing anymore, then whenever you do take it to your friends, whenever you do take it to your family, you can actually have a real explanation as to why you don't want to do this anymore. You can have a real explanation as to why you all of a sudden just switched up out of nowhere and, you know, you don't want to do this thing anymore. You will have an answer instead of going to them in the beginning in that kind of like rocky phase, like, I don't know, maybe I do, maybe I don't. I don't really know. And then being talked into another year, another 2 years of chasing something that you don't actually want. Time is precious. So whatever you're spending your time on should be something that you actually want to do. So you can't let anybody talk you into doing something that you don't feel right about. Your gut feeling is gonna tell you every time. Listen to that feeling. Don't ignore that feeling, no matter how hard you get it, because that gut feeling is only gonna grow stronger and stronger and stronger. And even if you do ignore it and you go on into whatever that field is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't even have to be in healthcare. You will feel it even more. You will feel the regret whenever you get into that field and you're like, oh, you know, this really isn't what I thought it was. I really don't want to do this anymore. And then you'll just end up having to switch and start all over anyways. The second thing I need you to do is evaluate your own life. Evaluate your hobbies. Figure out what is the thing that I spend time on the most, that, you know, I could do this and never get tired of it. I could do this and I'm happy. For me, that thing is pretty much anything that has to deal with the creative space. I make journals, I make agendas, I make digital planners for iPad. That's the thing that I could do for hours on end and not get tired of it. Now, if your hobby is not something that you necessarily want to turn into a career, if your hobby is like something like, oh, I just like doing that on the side, I don't really want that to be my career, then that's fine too. Instead, what you do is evaluate the topics that you are most passionate about. Like for me, I'm very passionate about talking about health equity, the quality of the patient experience, enhancing the patient experience, the healthcare system, and how we can improve it and make it better. Like, I'm more so invested in those conversations. Like, I notice whenever I start talking about those things, start talking about minority populations and the social determinants of health and how the social determinants of health influence where people rank in society, really influence where they live, and really influence what kind of experience they have just throughout their whole life. I'm passionate about talking about those things. So technically, I took that passion and I took it to Google. And I was like, okay, what can I do that is related to the mark that I want to make? The mark that I wanted to make and have always wanted to make was in the quality of the patient experience, wanting to enhance the patient experience in some way, shape, or form. But my college mindset, my high school mindset was, in order to do that, I had to be working in a clinical space, and that's just not true. There are so many other realms of healthcare, so many other jobs, occupations, careers that you can go into where you can impact or enhance the patient experience. So in order to figure that out, I had to research, which is something that is going to bring me to my tip number 3. After you have gotten comfortable with your decision, after you have evaluated your life, your hobbies, what you like to do, things that you like to talk about, things that you are passionate about, then our next step is to do research. So you need to research what your passions are. You need to research what your passions are, what you like to do. See how you can close that gap and turn those passions into a career in another way that is not clinical. See what options there are. Look up the career options, the jobs. Okay, how much money do these people make? Am I going to be making the impact that I want to make? Are there opportunities for growth? Is there an opportunity for me to get promoted? Look up every little detail about these jobs that you can find. Everything that you can find, you need to know about it. Every possible job that you can have that is within your passions, you should know about it. You should have ran across it. You should have read about it, so that whenever you do see one occupation that kind of sticks out, you know that you've exhausted all of your options. It's always going to be one or two things that are going to stand out to you. So just make sure that you are giving yourself the best chance to find the exact thing that, you know, could work for you. After that, look into, okay, what do I need to do to make this thing happen? What do I need to do to get to this job? Essentially, what you want to know is how am I going to get from point A to point B? How am I going to get from, okay, I wanted to work in the clinical space, whereas now I want to go into this whole new career. So you need to be searching, you need to be looking at YouTube videos, you need to be talking to people who have followed this path that you're thinking about taking. You need to really just figure out how long is it gonna take and what do I need to do to get to this career. Okay, that's what we need to do. After that, then if there's an education piece of it, like for example, me, I wanted to get a master's. I always have known I wanted to get a master's because my passions were aligned with enhancing the patient experience, but not in a clinical way. Healthcare administration stood out to me a lot, and I wanted to further my education. I wanted to have that master's, so that's what I did. Are you gonna need further education besides a bachelor's degree? Because I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you're either getting a bachelor's degree or you have a bachelor's degree. What type of education do you need to get to that level of that new occupation that you're trying to get to? Are you gonna have to get a master's, or are you good with your bachelor's? Are you gonna have to get a doctorate, or are you good with just the master's? Like, just figure out all the nitty gritty. Write that down too. Make sure that you know exactly what options are out there. After you get done with this step, and after you pretty much at this point, we have figured out what we want to do. We know what job exactly we are looking for. We know what the salary outlook is. We know what states they make the most money in. We know what states are going to be needing them within the next couple of years or so. We know everything about this new career that we're going into. Now, this is the time that I would say now we are going to talk to our family like fully about what our plans are. Because now not only can you take to your family and friends that I'm not really a fan of this clinical thing anymore, but you also can lay down the foundation of, okay, I don't want to be a doctor anymore, but these are my passions. This is the impact that I want to make, and that has led me to this new career right here. So you essentially can give them all the information that you have just researched. And now whenever you go to them, you're going to them with confidence. Confidence in not only your decision, but confidence in what you are now choosing to pursue. So it'll be a little bit harder if you do have like family and friends that are gonna pick at you and be like, oh, why are you not doing this anymore? Why are you giving up? Why are you da 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 da? You know, all that random bull crap. If you do have family that does that, at least now you have the tools and the resources to be able to debunk all of their arguments, instead of going into it like, oh, well, I don't want to be this anymore, but I don't really know what I want to be. No clue. I'm still figuring it out. Now you will look way more confident, and hopefully your family and friends will look at you like, oh yeah, I mean, that sounds like a really good fit for you. You sound really good, really passionate about it. I was a little worried that you were giving up at first, but I definitely can see now where you're coming from and how you got to this decision. You get what I'm saying? It'll be easier for them to accept your new reality because you have fully accepted it and you have become fully confident in it. So that is my 2 cents on the matter. Coming to terms with the fact that I didn't want to be a PA anymore was really an interesting time for me. It was kind of a hard pill for me to swallow, but honestly, I feel like I am like so much more in line with what I want to do. Like, I feel so much better now that I have just like completely accepted it and like moved on to my next thing. Like, I don't even think about that anymore. And I wanted to make this video just so you guys know that it's okay to change your mind. It is okay to think you want to do something and then not want to do it anymore. You know why? Because whenever they force us to make those decisions, I'm assuming if you go to college right after high school at 18, we are not like, how are we supposed to know what we like? I mean, coming from high school, it's not like we had any guidance as far as like figuring it out. We took all the basic classes, math, history, like we just took a bunch of basic classes. We never had the ability to really figure out what it is that we want to do, and there's no way possible for us in high school to know about all of these different options out here, especially in healthcare. I had no idea most of these jobs even existed in high school. I don't know who I thought was running the hospital, because honestly all I knew was doctors, nurses. Actually in high school I didn't even know about PAs, so I can't even say that. All I knew about was just the basic careers. So do not feel bad if what you have wanted to do since you were a child essentially is different from what you want to do as an adult, because as an adult you know yourself so much better. You know what you like to do. You know what type of hours that you like to work. You know what type of job settings that you probably would be comfortable working in. Like, you just know so much more about yourself, as opposed to in high school and like in our years of college, we don't really know that stuff. It's hard to know that at that age. It really is hard. So do not feel bad whenever you say, oh, since I was 12 I wanted to be a doctor. At 12 we didn't even know for real what doctors did. We were only seeing the surface level at that age. So absolutely do not beat yourself up about wanting to switch. Just tell yourself, I know more now than I did when I was 15. And you know, because I know more, I'm more equipped to be able to make these decisions for myself. So get comfortable in your decision, whatever your decision is. Even if you decide to stay in the clinical space, I'm so happy for you. Obviously, none of my videos are tailored toward telling people not to pursue the clinical space. So we need y'all to go and be nurses and doctors and PAs. Y'all need to go and do that, okay? People who feel like they are genuinely called to do that, that's something that they genuinely want to do, we need y'all to do that. Obviously, there's like always a nursing shortage going on, and you know, we just always have something going on. But if that is not what you feel like you are called to do, don't force it. Don't try to force it. Okay, y'all, so that is literally all I have to say. If you like this video, make sure that you leave a thumbs up for me. It really helps my channel. If you have something to say about your experience or your journey, make sure you leave me a comment down below so I can read it. And then look around on my channel. If you do like what you see, then go ahead and subscribe and join our family. I will be happy to have you. XOXO, and I am Shay.